Oh. Why is this my life? I'm in an ambulance right now. I guess I passed out. I'm getting my echocardiogram. Here goes nothing. Just finished at the cardiologist, so I will be wearing these for 2 weeks. I just did my tilt table test, so I finished my last test. Hey guys, so today's video I'm going to be sharing with you my POTS diagnosis story. So this has been quite a journey for several months and I finally have an answer, which is good. And today I'm going to be sharing with you guys the process and my diagnosis story of receiving my POTS diagnosis. Before we get into this video, don't forget to stop what you're doing and subscribe to join the family, and don't forget to turn on that bell so that you know whenever I upload. So yes, I have POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Just to kind of start this video off, I'm going to share with you guys what WebMD defines POTS as, just so that it's like an actual medical thing that I'm reading you, not just like my interpretation of it. According to WebMD, POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, is a disorder that has orthostatic intolerance as its most common symptom. When you have POTS, most of your blood stays in the lower part of your body when you stand up. This makes your heart beat faster to try to get blood to your brain. Your heart rate can go up by 30 beats or more a minute after you stand up. As that happens, your blood pressure is likely to drop, and that can therefore make you feel dizzy, pass out, etc., etc. Here are the symptoms. It says, when your heart has to work that hard and your blood pressure falls, that can throw your other body functions off balance. You might feel dizzy or faint, have blurry vision, feel nauseous or shaky, throw up, sweat a lot, have brain fog. Feeling extremely tired is a symptom too. Easy tasks can make you feel like you've just run a long race or are coming down with the flu. Other symptoms can include chest pain, feeling hot or cold, getting anxious, nervous, or jittery, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, unusual color in hands or feet. Something else that it says, I'm just going to start with educating y'all so that you know what I'm talking about, and then I'm going to tell you guys my story. And this is, you might already have POTS, you might be watching this because you also have POTS, or if you just got the diagnosis, or if you think you have POTS. I just hope that this video can spread awareness and share my story to maybe help out some of you out there who might have this or who do have this. I'm just trying to spread the word. And I want to be accurate, so that's why I'm reading WebMD. You might be more likely to notice these things when you're in the shower, standing in line, or feeling stressed. You may also have POTS symptoms after you eat because your intestines need more blood flow for digestion. So that is like the definition of POTS, and that is what POTS is. Okay, so my story starts in one spot, even though I'm pretty sure it starts in another, but I'm not positive, so I'm going to start with where I actually know that it starts. So it started on April 17th, 2018, and this is when I passed out in my college friend's dorm room. Oh. Why is this my life? Hey y'all, I'm in an ambulance right now. I don't want to move my arm because it has a IV in it. I guess I passed out. Don't remember really anything. I don't know. I'm healthy.
Yeah, no, when I felt your heart,
it was racing.
because it was going a lot faster, and
I didn't know why.
And I was trying to think if like you were nervous about something, but then the minute I was thinking, you fell, and I thought you died in the game, and then said, Lindsay, you can get up now. And when you didn't get up, I realized it was like not a thing, and so I was like, oh my god. And then I was like, guys, I think she passed out. And then like everyone rushed, and then when I kept saying her name and there was no response, I'm like,
we were talking, like, you were like, oh, I thought she was pretending. Like, it was like a joke.
I didn't think she was. The second I heard you say Lindsay, it was like, I thought back to like what she said to you, and I was like, oh god.
No, that's why, because I thought it was a good time, and I was like, oh, that was a good one, Lindsay, you got me. And then I was like, Lindsay, you can get up now. And then you didn't get up. I'm like, okay.
She's really good at this game.
The acting.
So all that I remember from that is that I was scared. I remember having a headache that night. I remember just kind of feeling a little off. I felt exhausted. I was tired, but I was hanging out with my friends, having a good time. We were playing the game. If you want to learn more about like my full story about what happened, I don't know where my card is. I'll insert a card for that video where I talked about everything that happened. I was fine, like I was chilling at the time, but my heart was racing and I didn't know why. It felt like I was running, like I might as well have been sprinting. And the funny thing is, it felt like how I felt on the tilt table test when they gave me adrenaline. And there was no reason for adrenaline to be pumping through my blood, so I was so confused as to why my heart was racing. And then next thing I know, I'm on the ground waking up and there's police officers and paramedics and my friends scattering and my mom on the phone, and like it was insane. That was the start of all of this. I was taken to the hospital, they evaluated me, all of my tests looked absolutely normal, absolutely fine. I remember when I woke up I was really nauseous and I didn't feel good at all, and I was also very confused and scared because I had no idea what just happened. I'd never like passed out in my life basically like that, so it was really weird and strange for that to happen. And it was out of nowhere too, like literally we were playing the game, my heart was racing and I passed out, and it was just a freak thing. So in the hospital, the doctor ended up saying he recommended me getting an event monitor or a heart monitor thing to wear for like either 24 hours or blah blah blah, / see a cardiologist to see what your next steps are. Because the thing that they were worried about is that, well, one, I felt my heart racing for like at least a minute or two before I actually passed out. And then two, the fact that I was out for like 2 minutes, maybe 3, which is a really long time to be passed out for. So then came the cardiologist. I had my first cardiologist appointment, and he said that there are 2 categories he puts his patients into. Innocent until proven guilty, and there's guilty until proven innocent. And he put me in guilty until proven innocent because he did not feel good at all about the fact that this was a freak thing. It was the first time it ever happened. He said that honestly the patients who pass out all the time concern him less because it happens all the time and they're fine. So me, for it to be a healthy 19-year-old girl who just randomly passes out, I was the youngest person in that cardiologist office. He was like, what is a healthy girl like you doing in my office today? So he wanted to do all the testing. So we did. We started off with a echocardiogram. I'm getting my echocardiogram. This is cute.
Get the back.
This is a new trend. I just saw my heart. We did multiple EKGs. Then I wore the cardiac event monitor for 2 weeks. Just finished at the cardiologist, so I will be wearing these for 2 weeks. I have this box. I have this briefcase, and I have a fanny pack too. You guys can't see it right now, but yep. So this is my heart monitor. I have one other sticky down here, and I will be wearing this for 2 weeks everywhere I go. So, yep. And then I did a stress test. Here goes nothing. I have so many things that push us out. And then I had my day in the hospital where I did an EP study and a tilt table test. Here goes nothing. Boop. I like the socks. I think they're very fashionable. So I did all the heart testing, and the weird thing was that everything was coming back normal until the tilt table test. Hey guys, so I'm in Johns Hopkins Hospital. I just did my tilt table test and they said I tested positive for POTS. In terms of the tilt table test, so my experience, it sucked. The tilt table test sucked. My heart rate went from like, did you say 50s? It went from like 50s to 90s, going from laying down to standing up, so it increased like 30 plus. So at least I have an answer, right? It sucks. Especially when you have POTS, it sucks. However, I did not pass out. But I know a friend who also has POTS, and she did not pass out on her tilt table test either. However, my heart rate did show the POTS results where my started out in like low 50s because I am kind of like an athlete. I exercise a lot, so I have like a lower resting heart rate. And then they said when they tilted me up, it went up to 90 something. I don't remember the exact number. It's kind of hard to explain because when they first sat me up, I felt a little dizzy and I was like, whoa, like that's weird. Okay. And then I was just kind of chilling and I felt a little chest pain, but I was like, oh, it's probably just gas or something. Like I haven't eaten anything because you can't eat before you get a procedure done or anything, or eat or drink any water. So I was just like, whatever. And it went away. I was like, okay, but it was probably chest pain because my heart rate went skyrocket high really fast, and that's what POTS is. And then after standing there for a while, honestly, like my feet felt a little weird, like they felt a little tingly, but I was like, it's probably because I've been standing here for so long. Like I'm not the kind of person to complain. Like, I will do everything in my power to not complain, and a tilt table test is like, you're supposed to say everything you're feeling, and I honestly think I held back a little bit because I just hate complaining. And I'm like feeling these things and I'm finding an explanation for it. I was like, oh no, I jammed my toe yesterday, like that's why like my feet hurt, like that's why they feel tight. Like, no, it's because blood's pooling in my legs right now. But the first part wasn't that bad. It was uncomfortable, and I just felt like, ugh, like this sucks. Like I want to sit down. But the second part of the test is when it was horrible. So they gave me adrenaline, and had me lay down for another 10 minutes, I think. And this was weird. This is how I felt when I passed out, which was also something weird, and I knew that this was going to tell me something because it felt the same way. They gave me adrenaline and my heart was racing. That's what adrenaline does. And I was breathing heavy because it felt like I was running, but I was literally strapped down to a table laying down. And that's another thing, is whenever I'm strapped down, like, it freaks me out. Like, it freaks me out not having control or power to like leave or move. It freaks me out. So I was like trying to keep myself calm in general, being like strapped to this table. But yeah, so my heart was racing. I was breathing heavy already. And then they sat me up. My heart skyrocketed, and this time I was like, I feel dizzy, I was like, I feel nauseous, I have a headache, like I feel really weak. And I remember a few times feeling like I was gonna pass out, but not. And I felt like crap. And I think I was stood up for, I don't remember exactly how long. It sucked. It was horrible. I felt so bad. And in the first test, before they gave me the adrenaline, she even asked me, the lady who was testing me, she was like, are you just not complaining? Or because she saw my heart rate like elevating and I just wasn't saying anything. Because I didn't want to complain, even though that's literally the point of test. If you're getting a tilt table test, please tell them everything you're feeling, like whether you think there's an explanation for it or not. Just tell them. That probably would have made their lives easier, but I'm just stubborn and I don't like complaining. So if I ever complain and I'm around you, know that there's something wrong. I did some research and some doctors have said that patients can get POTS after a concussion. So I think that that might have been what like caused it or started it, because I got a really bad concussion fall 2017 in October. My flyer was slipping and kicked me in the head, and I was out of school for I think 2 weeks at least. I was in craniosacral therapy, and that's when she noticed, and that's when they tested me and they said I was borderline POTS. So when all of this was happening and they were like, it might be POTS, blah, 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 I was like, oh, like I've already been tested for that once before, but it wasn't like an actual tilt table test. It was just like they had me lay down, they took my blood pressure, they had me stand up, they did that. I think that's when this all started, and it wasn't a coincidence that I ended up getting diagnosed with something they thought I had when that happened, you know? Another thing with POTS is like heat intolerance, and the most, like, you guys know I lived in Pretty Min, which didn't have air conditioning, and so I always complained about the heat. Part of POTS is like a heat intolerance, and okay, another thing is I sweat a lot, and I always thought that I got this from my dad because my mom doesn't sweat like that, my brother doesn't sweat like a lot. I've always sweat a lot, and that might be TMI, but it's part of the POTS thing. Because I sweat so much, I sweat out all of the salt and all of the liquids out of my body, and that's what I need so that I don't pass out. So that's why they say to eat a lot of salt. That's why they say to drink a lot of fluid so that you retain that salt and you retain that liquid and fluid. But when I'm doing stuff or I'm out in the heat for a long time, like I sweat and I sweat all of that out. That's another thing that got explained with the POTS diagnosis. Anyway, okay, so I did the tilt table test, and even the nurse, she was like, you have POTS. I was like, oh, okay, I've heard of that before. Like, I'm not surprised. My doctor came in and told me, he gave me a little pamphlet with like a whole bunch of information about it, like why it happens, how to treat it. There's not really a treatment for POTS. There's no cure. It's just like things that you can do to manage it to improve your life quality is how they explain it, which is things like increasing your salt, increasing fluids, not drinking alcohol, wearing compression socks or compression things on your legs so that your blood doesn't pool, just certain things to help improve your life quality. I know there is medication and I might look into that. I don't think I need to at this point. I've seen some people with POTS who like have a really hard life, who are like in a wheelchair, who like can't really do much because they're exhausted, which I get it. Fatigue is a real thing. But there's people who have it way worse out there. So I'm thankful that like the level of POTS I have is like manageable with the things that they told me to do. I definitely feel it, and now I'm recognizing the symptoms. Like when I feel them, I'm like, that's why. And it's nice to have that comfort and state of mind. So yeah, after the tilt table test, they diagnosed me with POTS, gave me information, talked to me about it, but they still wanted to do the EP study that they were doing, which is where they put me to sleep. They put 3 holes in my thigh, catheters, and then they went up into my heart, shocked it, did it, they said it looked fine. They had to give me oxycodone because I was in so much pain when I woke up, so, oh, that sucked. So at this point, I have my POTS diagnosis, and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my experience with it and like things I've felt and experienced, just so you guys can keep an eye out for. I've already read you guys the symptom chart, and I'm going to tell you guys what I've felt or been feeling. Headaches, I always get headaches. Nausea, I've always gotten car sickness. And sometimes when like just a little bit ago when I was laying down and I stood up really fast and I came in here and sat down, I was like, ugh, like I felt a little woozy. So nausea, chest pain, more like tightness. But the thing with the chest pain is I wasn't sure if it was anxiety or if it was POTS, because a huge thing with my anxiety is it feels like I have weight on my chest and it feels like I can't breathe. Shortness of breath is another symptom for POTS, so those, it's kind of hard to differentiate between the chest pain and the shortness of breath. But another thing is heart palpitations. I was feeling this on the elliptical. I would randomly feel my heart flutter and I would just get weird. And there was one time where I was at the gym with Nick and I literally like had to step off and just grab the thing and just breathe. And he was like, let's go sit down. Like, you don't look good. And I literally had to go and sit down because I was on the elliptical upright, so blood was probably pooling and I felt like I was gonna pass out, and that's why I got off and I grabbed the rails and was just trying to breathe and catch my breath, and I was like, oh my gosh. I felt like crap. I felt nauseous. It was a weird day. But yeah. Insomnia, I literally showed you guys in my college week of my life how I went to bed at like 1 a.m. at the like earliest on most nights. And I've always been a night owl. I've never been a morning person ever in my life. So insomnia, I guess that explains a lot because I can literally get into bed and I can just not fall asleep. I can lay in bed for 3 hours trying to fall asleep and just not. And that's why I don't even normally try until like midnight. It's bad, but yeah. So insomnia, I have felt a lot, and the dizziness upon standing. So this I've noticed for a while. If I'm laying down for a while and then I stand up and do something, I like get the dizzy feeling, but I've never fainted from it before. So that's a good thing. That's different than like a lot of people with POTS. A lot of them, as soon as they get up for a few seconds, they're out. So I'm glad that I don't have that. But my friend who has POTS, I talked to her and she said, just because you didn't faint on the tilt table test doesn't mean you won't pass out randomly. I could be totally fine. I could pass out. That's another thing with POTS. You never know. And it all depends on your body and whether you have enough fluids and salt. I've been trying to spread the word to my friends too and educate them as well, so that in case I do pass out, they know what to do and they like won't call 911 because I don't want to do that again. And then the next huge thing is fatigue. I swear, there's a difference between being a lazy teenager and not wanting to do anything and being exhausted for no reason. And ever since my concussion, I can pinpoint me feeling exhausted like 24/7. It was so hard, especially my senior year. Everyone was going out and doing things and I was just tired and I didn't want to do anything. And like I read on WebMD, you can do something so small as walk up the stairs and feel like you got hit by a bus and feel absolutely drained and exhausted. And that's how I felt, and that's like what happened when I was at the gym and I was exercising. I can do 3 miles on the elliptical daily. And I think I wasn't even there. I think I did like 2 and I literally felt like I was about to pass out and I felt exhausted the rest of the day. So fatigue has been a huge thing. I can literally sleep all day and then get up, get food, and go back to sleep and feel like I was running all day. It's kind of weird, and after a day of work, I'm just exhausted. I had to lay down at my work after a day of following around for orientation, and that was 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. and I literally had to lay down in my office because I felt like I was gonna pass out because I was out in the heat all day walking around on my feet and I felt like crap. I had a headache, I felt nauseous, I felt like a mess. I had not had much salt and I had not drank enough fluids. When I saw Incredibles, I also had to sit down because I felt my feet were tingling and they kind of like felt weird. You can feel blood pooling in your legs. Once you know what to look for, you can feel it, and I felt that, and so I had to sit down, move my feet around to try to like increase blood flow. So those are some things I've felt and experienced while having this. I'm trying to educate myself, and that's the whole point of this video, is I hope to spread the word. I hope to farther educate myself and learn more as I deal with this for longer and I learn all the tips and tricks. I plan on making a video in October, which is Dysautonomia Awareness Month, that's the kind of is it a disease? I don't know. That's the kind of syndrome or whatever thing POTS is dysautonomia, I believe. But I plan on making a video in October, or making multiple videos about POTS, just once I'm more educated and experienced with it, because I don't want to give you guys tips and advice on how to like deal with it until I know myself how to deal with it. Right now all I'm doing is eating salt and drinking water. So I'll keep you guys posted. Comment below if you have POTS, or if you think you do, or if you have a family member or a friend who has it. Let's create a community of support and love. It's so nice when there's a community where people can just help each other and help spread the word and make the world a better place. That's always my goal on my channel. So I hope that this video allows to open up the conversation for it and to help facilitate a safe place where you guys can talk about your experience and your questions and just like spread awareness for it. Alright guys, well that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Comment below any video requests and anything nice, or notification squad. Congratulations to this person for being the video shout out. Thank you for supporting me. Don't forget to stop watching and subscribe to join the family, and I will see you guys in the next video. Love you. Bye. Mwah.